Hello there guys, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another video. And finally, the one you've been waiting for, I'm back with my final part of subscriber and popular opinions. And today, as promised, we're going to be talking about Kalani and Asuelu. And a lot of you have a lot to say with regard to this relationship, so stay tuned to see if your comment made the cut. Just before we begin, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart to everyone who's subscribed so far. It's very much appreciated. Please just click the red button and also don't forget to press the like button if you enjoyed the video. Well, we've got quite a lot to get through, so without further ado, I give you subscriber opinions and comments on Kalani and Asuelu. And so the first opinion we're going to be looking at today is from Tracy Hunter. Thanks so much, Tracy. And Tracy says the following: Asuelu's mum and sister clearly believe it's Kalani's family's responsibility to financially support Asuelu's kids. Unbelievable. Strange that they claim that it's so normal and expected for the adult children to support parents, yet they don't expect Asuelu and Kalani to support her parents, but rather that her parents support Kalani, Asuelu and the grandkids. And Tracy, this is an excellent point. By rights, for every $1,000 they give to Asuelu's mum, they should give exactly the same amount to her parents. But of course his mum and Tammy haven't even considered that. All they think is, oh, they're American. They're really rich. They should be able to help us out. And Tammy even actually said it herself last week. I thought once they got married, that's fantastic. Kalani will be able to send money for our family and our people back home. Is that the first thing you thought? Your financial gain? And guys, I think that speaks for itself. And the sheer nonsensical gist of this argument, I think, is completely lost on Tammy and Asuelu's mum. They're both a pointless waste of time. Kalani, if you argue with idiots, they'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. So yep, I totally agree with this opinion. Thanks so much, Tracy. And Mario Tevina has our next unpopular opinion, and this is quite a long one. And Mario says, Samoa's appeal as a vacation spot is the people's easygoing lifestyle. They live with little money and fend for themselves. Much of their income is from the tourist trade. They don't live in Silicon Valley, so to expect Asuelu to relocate to America having marketable skills and to be able to assimilate is ridiculous. Kalani allowed herself to get into a situation that she can't easily get out of, and what's worse is there are two innocent kids in the balance. She should have thought of better things. Asuelu only has his life experience to fall back on, and we all see the example he's learned from. This is a union that should not have happened. Now there's a rift in Asuelu's Samoan family, he'll be forced to choose between them and his family. I don't think he's mature enough for that, and I think things will end badly. And Mario, I think again the Ebird completely agrees. I actually believe that Asuelu's only been in America for a couple of years, and some of that time obviously he couldn't have worked because he was waiting for his papers and to actually be married to Kalani. And Mario's saying that Kalani should have realised when she got together with him and when she got pregnant and decided to bring him over and create a family with him, she should have considered this is going to be a potentially quite a difficult journey for Asuelu to embark upon. And should Kalani have known? Of course she should, because it seems to me that her dad has been saying since day dot, do not bring a Samoan home. I think he knows the problems that they have trying to assimilate to American society. And then on top of all that, she has not one, but two very young children and somebody who isn't financially on their feet as a husband. So yeah, I totally agree with this. And I'd actually even go a little bit further and say Kalani and Asuelu were really remiss in actually getting pregnant again, because they were already struggling massively, not just with their relationship, but financially. And they're old enough and intelligent enough to know if we are not using protection, we may get pregnant. So they've actually compounded their own problems. And then finally, there are other cultural differences to consider. So obviously, as Asuelu's already told us, looking after kids is women's work, doing housework is women's work, and it's all super easy. And so not only is he not able to actually earn, but he also isn't a massive help around the house or isn't that helpful with the kids. And I couldn't help but notice last week when Kalani returned home from her fracas with Tammy and Asuelu's mum, Karine, her sister, was with the two children, and Asuelu was sitting in his bedroom, playing on his phone and eating a sandwich. And I agree, looking after kids is super easy when somebody else is doing it. So thank you so much for that, Mario. Definitely agree. And my next opinion is from Sai Guzman, and Sai's referring to Tammy when she says the following: she may work full time, take her kids to after school activities, etc. But Kalani's kids are babies, they're still in diapers. They're unable to walk, talk or do anything for themselves. They're entirely dependent on their mother to live. These two mothers have situations that are completely different from each other. Claiming that Kalani can leave her babies with their grandparents to work is unrealistic and unreasonable. Maybe in 10 years when the kids are bigger, Kalani may work a full-time job to increase her household income, but then she would still have to hear, "Where's my money?" every month for a decade. It's rough when you don't get along with your in-laws. And we're 3 for 3 so far, guys. I completely agree again. Tammy's saying to Kalani, "You're in the same situation as me." If that's the case, then Tammy, why are you asking for money? Why are you getting involved? Also, she wants Kalani to just go and leave her 2 babies with either strangers or with her parents. Do you not think her parents work or have things to do? Tammy hasn't even met these people and doesn't really care what anybody's situation is. All Tammy thinks is, let me just say whatever I've got to say so I can get my hands on the money. So thanks so much, Sai. I completely agree with that opinion. And so my next unpopular opinion is from David. And David says, "This is your first video in which I completely disagree with you, Ebird. There's nothing else Kalani could have done to smooth the situation. I think the mother and sister are incapable of reasoning and compromising." So thank you for your comment, David. I wasn't really as such referring to what Kalani actually did with the mother-in-law and Tammy. What I was referring to was how she delivered the information to Asuelu. And so I think what I wanted was for her to explain the situation to Asuelu in such a way that he understood that they were more or less saying, we don't care what your situation is, we don't care how much money or how little money you have, your parents can deal with your family, and Asuelu must give us $1,000 each month. And I don't really think that she got that across, because she started to get it across and he started to understand, but then they went into the whole argument about who would drop who, which of course was completely ridiculous. And I feel that Kalani should have just ignored that, not gone into the argument, not called his mum and sister assholes, and just argued her point a little bit better so they could have a united front when dealing with his family. So yes, I guess this is 50-50. I completely agree that the mother and the sister aren't capable of reasoning or compromising. I think it's in their head that Kalani is rich and so therefore she must pay them to live. But 2 things that I think that shouldn't have happened are Kalani calling his family assholes and Kalani saying, "I would have dropped your sister." To me, that was completely pointless. However, it must be said that I do think if Tammy and Kalani got into it, Kalani would chew her up, spit her out and send the pieces back to Samoa. But thank you, David, for your unpopular opinion. Another opinion comes from Alexis Cohen. And Alexis says, although I understand Kalani's point of view, especially as a single parent myself, I think her delivery was too harsh, aggressive and culturally insensitive. And I do agree with this, and this kind of backs up the point that I've just made. I completely understand that she was really heightened and really upset with what had just happened. But I definitely agree with this, that her delivery was very harsh. And she didn't give Asuelu much time to come to terms with the information that she was telling him. And as we all know, most people live and learn. Asuelu just lives. He needs a lot more time than the average to grasp even basic concepts. And the final opinion I have is from Cindy Wilson. And Cindy says as follows: I thought it seemed very telling that the family views Kalani as American, even though she's ethnically Samoan. His family also didn't go to the wedding. I think he's finally seeing the reasons why. So obviously Kalani is half Samoan and half American. And she's obviously visited Samoa quite a bit, so she understands the Samoan culture to some extent. But I think the reason that they view Kalani as American is because Kalani's rich, or as they see it, rich. But I really do agree with the comment, his family didn't go to his wedding. And really he should make something from that. If they really wanted to see him happy and see his joyous moment, there would be nothing to stop them travelling from Washington State to go and see him get married. They don't have sufficient interest to give his kids presents or to try and interact with them at all. Yet they still think this is a normal relationship, this is your duty to give us money. I'm pretty certain that in Samoa, the mother is supposed to go to her son's wedding. So it would seem as if they're picking and choosing the roles of a traditional Samoan family. So again, I agree with this. So thank you very much to all my subscribers for all of these comments and opinions. And I'll be back later in the week with a roundup of Kalani and Asuelu's story from this week. And I'm also going to be discussing the so-called receipts that people are bandying around YouTube, which say that this whole storyline is fake. I've got my own views on that and I really don't think that it is. I've got every reason to believe that it was just damage limitation on behalf of the family. But stay tuned for the next video because I'm going to go into it in quite some detail. You know the Ebird, she's nothing without a bit of over-analysis. So thank you so much guys for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you've yet to do so. And also follow me on Twitter at Ebird99. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.